I'm going to try and share my thoughts. It's going to be somewhat of a review because I started taking notes and then things got really bloody. What am I saying? The book started on a bloody note, but like things got quite it got to a point where I just forgot that I was meant to be taking notes, you know, for a review, and I was just powering through this book. And if you want to know how much I love this book, look at it. I tagged it every fucking page to hell. I like R.F. Kuang owns my soul. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this video into two portions. The first section is going to be my non-spoilery review, and then I'm going to specifically say spoilers ahead because I want to go into certain details. And if you've not read the book yet, I want you to go back and read it. Not just because of the fact that you don't want to be spoiled, but because this book is utter perfection. Absolute perfection. Like, R.F. Kuang fucking killed it.
To be talking to you, Belladonna. Should have taken a break, not an Oxford comma. Take what I want when I wanna, and I want you.
Hello everybody, Nora back again. So yeah, I'm not going to do any arm movement because this book broke me and devastated me and totally and completely destroyed me. But what else is new? For everybody that's been spent any amount of time on my channel, you'll know that The Poppy War by Rebecca F. Kuang was my favorite book last year. Like, I loved that book. And then you also know that The Dragon Republic is my most anticipated book of the year. And the question is that, did it live up to the hype? Yes, it lived up to my expectations. It more than wrecked my total expectations. I am currently you know that period when Jiang in Poppy War was teaching Rain how to meditate and she kind of like left her body and kind of floated? Yes, I have left my body. R.F. Kuang has totally and completely had me, I don't know, drop any mortal concerns behind, except for the fact that I desperately need the third book. So I'm going to go straight to my non-spoilery review first. What is this book about? This book picks up from events where we stopped in the Poppy War. And if you've not read the Poppy War, just know that Rin makes a very big decision that some people will consider unethical, but then again, it's war. Like, that is technically the only justification she can give, and you have to be in a certain mindset to agree with her. And I happen to, you know, be solidly Team Fangunin. So yeah, she made a decision that some would consider unethical, and she suffered great losses within such a short period of time that you wonder how she's managed to keep her sanity. And that is where we pick up in book 2. She's currently losing her mind. She's doped up on opiates. She's trying to silence a vengeful god that demands and just keeps on demanding. And she's also dealing with the PTSD and the grief and the guilt of all the actions that took place at the end of the Poppy War. Let's just say that my girl Fangunin is not in a good headspace at the start of this book, and things go from bad to worse for her throughout this book. Like, I spent every moment thinking that things could not get any worse, and then they get worse. This book is a literal definition of she let out a breath she did not know she was holding. In this case, I let out several breaths I did not know I was holding. In fact, I stopped breathing at a point in this book because the twist, the turns, the fact that you're like, things can't get any worse, and it's like watching a train wreck in motion because things do get worse, and you're like, what the fuck? Why? Like, perfection. So yeah, that was technically the book. It would ruin you and end you and make things so much worse, and you're going to finish the book like, where are the moments of levity? Where are the happy moments? Because this book is just so fucking dark and so fucking depressing, and trigger warning for a lot of things. There's self-mutilation, there's a lot of violence, a lot, like, this is war, people. And R.F. Kuang does not shy away from war. Like, this imagery is so, okay, we're going to talk about the writing, but lots of violence, sexual assault, abuse in so many ways. Yeah, this book kind of has it all. It has it all. How was the writing? The writing is as amazing as R.F. Kuang has always made it. Very visual. Like, when she's describing, what happens during the war, how people are dying, the pain, you'll be transported straight into the pages of this book. And let me tell you, if you don't have the stomach for it, this book is your very definition of grim dark fantasy. Now, for those of you that are like, okay, what do you mean by grim dark fantasy? I think the author Adam Roberts best defines grim dark fantasy. It's a subgenre where in a story might makes right. The most powerful are the ones that are right, and this is a constant theme throughout this entire book. The whole point of the fact that war is a game of strategy but also of might, and that the only people that win wars are the ones that determine the narrative going forward. It's also about, you know, the realities of war, the horrors of war, the fact that men can do the most monstrous things during war, and the fact that a lot of people, and the fact that the people that suffer the most during war times are not the generals, are not the people that are plotting, but rather the everyday man who just wants to survive but is besieged at all sides and is just dropping, because the numbers of people that drops, the death toll in this book of nameless characters is just heartbreaking. And the fact that this is war, this is the reality of war, is just this book also deals with power and the fact that the price of power is pain, and are you willing to pay for that? We also talk about classism and what it means, the fact that classism also plays a role in determining exactly who has the right to rule. There's so many great themes. There's so many great themes. The writing is perfection. The characters, the character development and growth. Characters that we saw in the Poppy War that we could not stand, I could not stand, became my absolute favorite, and I was rooting for them. And the amount of plot twist and turn that this book takes, and like, I still haven't caught my breath. I'm still in shock. I'm still surprised. I finished this in 11 hours. This is less than a fucking day. I could not drop it the minute I stopped, and this is considering the fact that I was annotating and tabbing and like screaming at the characters like, oh god damn, this book was so fucking good. So yeah, that is the end of my non-spoilery review, in that if you had plans, if you were worried that this book might suffer from second book syndrome, trust me, that is not something you should concern yourself about, because this book, it more than lives up to the expectations. It's so bloody good. Like, oh my god, it is so fucking good. So fucking dark. So fucking bloody. But so fucking good. And now I move on to the spoiler-filled part of this video. Seriously, like at this point in time, if you're here, I'm going to assume that you want spoilers. Either you want spoilers or if you've read the book. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and totally and completely give away everything that happened in the book, but this is going to be spoiler heavy because you've been warned. But anyway, the moment it is that this book started with a prologue and not getting an idea of, you know, how Neza's brother died, I knew Neza was alive. I knew he was coming back. I also had it confirmed because I had my suspicions at the end of Poppy War that Neza was a shaman, and oh boy, was I correct. In fact, it's something more than a shaman. In fact, I even still have that belief that that is not the entire part of that story. That the fact that Neza's and his entire family, the Yin family, look so much like the Dragon Emperor Riga. Why do I have a feeling that the dragon that possessed Neza's body as an 11-year-old fucking child is Riga? Like, because based on, you know, what we heard when Chagan and Kara were reunited with, you know, family and aunt and their aunts, and what she said, something just gives me the idea that, you know, the trifecta cannot be killed. Like, you have to kill them all for them to die, because, you know, if you read that part of the book, you know what is happening with them. So, because I don't want to spoil that. So, I still have a feeling that Riga is alive. I think Riga is that dragon. I think it's just something happened to him. Like, you know, the way in which Jiang lost his mind and his memories and his entire, you know, powers as a gatekeeper until it kind of sort of started, the seal was breaking. Oh, in this book, we understand totally what that seal meant. Because that Sudaji is a bitch. But is she really a bitch though? Like, that's the entire... I'll get to that in a bit. But anyway, I still feel that that dragon was Riga. Like, you have to convince me otherwise. Like, I think it's Riga. I'm just saying. I just think he is. Now, getting on to the story proper, we pick up where it was that we left. Not shortly after where we left it at the end of the Poppy War, in the sense that, yes, Rin is now the side commander, and it's been 3 months, and Sudaji has a bounty on their head for them to either be brought in dead or alive. So there are suspicions that they are alive, but because there are suspicions that they are alive, but there's no proof that they are not dead. So it's kind of like an in-between, which is why we started this book. We also immediately got tossed in the fact that, one, Kite is no longer with them. We find out where it went later. I will get to that in a moment. But Kite is no longer with them, right? And then Chagan is just taking every moment to contradict every single thing that Rin is saying. And at the start, I was like, what the fuck? Give her a fucking break. Also, this was not how we ended things at the Poppy War. At the end of the Poppy War, you made it seem like you were going to support my girl, like you were going to throw your power solidly behind her, and you guys, you know, taking on the Empress and all of that. But no, at the start of this, Chagan is nitpicking at every single thing that Rin is doing, and I was so fucking pissed until I realized that he had quite a lot of points, in the sense that Fangunin had no idea what the fuck she was doing. Like, I kid you not, that was one of the things I had a problem with this book. I'm like, not with the book is perfect, but with Fangunin as a character, because I'm like, you were the second choice for Ija, right? If Ija was still alive, he would fucking be so fucking disappointed and bitch slap your ass. What the fuck? She kept making so many stupid mistakes, like attacking Sudaji when she knew that they had no reinforcement, she was not ready, and then of course gave it away and confirmed fully for the entire Federation that they are alive. You know, trusting Viceroy so blindly, not questioning, not being able to see beyond, like, not trying to see the bigger picture. And don't get me started on the entire thing with Neza's brother and how she got demoted, and how unconcerned she was about the psych, and the fact that I understand she was so wrapped in guilt and she's PTSD and she's trying to get rid of her addiction, but at the same time I wanted to enter this book and shake her so bad, because this is not the strategist that I wanted to see. But then again, I understood, because now I understood why it was that, you know, Jian kept upping on the fact that she was so hot, she's so hot-headed, she likes to rush into things without thinking it through. She's so deep, and then you also see that it's also rooted in her dependence and her need to succeed and her need to please everybody else, because, you know, for so long she's been so empty, and she's found meaning in following orders, in finding people, mentors that she can look up to and admire, whose instructions she can follow blindly. Because Runin, even though she went to Singard and was training to be a general, throughout this entire book was a fucking soldier. And that was what made me so fucking pissed, because even she herself said it in the start of the Poppy War, that you went to the other schools, you know, for you to be a good soldier. You went to Singard to be a fucking general, to command armies, and she wasn't commanding shit. I was just like, why? The same thing with Kitty. Like, Kitty was so caught up in, you know, this false sense of superiority and, oh, how could you do such a thing? Like, I understand, but at the same time I kept wondering, like, does he know they're in a war? Does he understand? And like, all the mean things he kept saying to her, and the way he kept pulling her down, and the way he was being such an absolute brat, I kept wanting to enter this book and smack him so hard. But then he came around, and Kite coming around was just brilliant. And then when that scene, when they bonded and we were able to get a glimpse into his mind and how it worked and what he felt, and we saw that rage, I was applauding so fucking loudly. Like I said, the character development in this, except for Rin, Fanguinin just confirmed what it is that we've always known, or rather what I suspected. You see, the Rin we saw in the Poppy War was tossed into Singard. She had expectations, but she just wanted to matter. She wanted to mean something, you know. Our declaration at the end of the Poppy War was not driven by intelligence and strategy, but was just driven by anger. And so seeing her, realizing that she's basically a soldier, you know, she knows how to memorize, she knows how to learn, but applying this strategy, she kept being racked with guilt, you know. She knew the decision she was meant to take, that was going to win at the war, but she was feeling guilty about the choices she had to make. And I guess that's just something that was just constantly in this book. Where do you draw your empathy during war times? Do you feel sympathetic even though you know that it's going to lead to the destruction of your people? Or are you willing to be the villain of that story? Are you willing to be the bad guy in order to find redemption for your people? And also, do you understand that when it is that you become that symbol of freedom and power, then players all over the board who want to use you, and if it is that you don't have the foresight and the fucking strategy, then you're just not going to be anything but a fucking puppet. And that was what Rin was for so long in this book. I was like, why? But at the same time, I understood because my girl is tired and she's grieving and she's sad and she just needs guidance, and which was why the turnaround at the end of this book filled me with life, because she finally understood what I'd been fucking shouting. This is not a war of provinces. This is a war of classes. And my girl is ready to go to war. It said that she had to be backed from all sides. It said that she had to be betrayed. I'll get to the betrayal in a bit. It said that she had to be betrayed for her to come to that point. But I'm happy she's finally come to that point. And I sincerely hope that she's finally learned and that we don't do this whole thing again in the third book, because I just want her to burn shit. Like, I want her to burn shit. I'm just saying. Starting with Viceroy, you know, he's a fucking dick. Fucking dick. But other than that, you know, other than Rin, the character development of Kite, I love that. The character development of Venka, oh my god. Venka was my favorite character in this fucking book. I did not see it coming. Because the Venka in the Poppy War, I hated her. I hated her with the passion of a thousand burning suns. The Venka in Dragon Republic, I want to protect her, but I don't want to protect her because I know she doesn't need protecting, because she's a fucking badass. And the Venka, like, I was like, this is the person. Like, Venka was giving me life. I'm just like, I can't wait to see where our story goes in book 3, because that girl, fucking badass. And I just find it interesting because Rin started the Dragon Republic in such a position of strength. Yes, she's on the run. Yes, she's wanted. But she started the Dragon Republic, or rather, she ended the Poppy War in such a position of strength. And then the end of the Dragon Republic, she's lost everything. Everything but her mind. And that is, it just fills me so much hope, because she's at the very bottom. The only way she can go is up. And I hope she does it in glorious, fiery detail. Because fucking Viceroy and the Asparians, I want them all to burn. Like, I need them to burn. Yeah. You would have thought that Sudachi would make this list. And that is why I am so confused, because I understand where it is that she's coming from, knowing all that she's gone through, and knowing how far she's come. I understand what is driving her. I understand why she is so utterly fused with Nua. But at the same time, I wonder, can we trust her? Is she trustworthy? Should my girl Rin be taking her words for it completely? But Rin seems to have learned. And I'm so proud. But then I'm like, this means that the third book is going to be like, what? 3 different factions all warring against each other? Like, book 3 is going to be for the bloody, brilliant and fucking bloody. And I hope it's bigger than this, because this book just, every inch of it gave me life. Goddamn. I'm emotional. I'm not making any coherent sense, because this book does not have me in any coherent thoughts. And the fact that, what am I saying, 3 factions. I can't forget what happened with Chagan and Kara, which means that that's 4 factions. Like, war is brewing on all sides. And Fanrunin finally has to take a stand. But I'm so happy that she's finally stepped out of her role as a soldier and is ready to command, because that is the only way she can save the South. And I want her so badly to fucking save the South. Because the South have been trampled so much. When you even understand from the mythology of Noah creating mankind, and like Neza was sharing with her, and the fact that basically they just turned the peasants into mud. I want the mud to fucking win. Like, this has gone beyond pride. I want the mud to fucking win. The aristocrats can fucking choke. Like, that's just it. Speaking of aristocrats, and Neza, fucking backstabbing piece of shit. Like, you know, I trusted him. I was so happy and I was crying when he made it, when he survived. I should have known that it was too good to last. I should have known that, no. But do I understand where it's coming from, though? No, not really. But then again, does it have all the story? Does it have all the facts? Like the words that when it was that when it was that Rin confronted Viceroy when she was in that prison cell and blamed him, I was like, everything just unlocked, and I'm like, that was totally it. That makes total sense. And I'm like, does Neza know? Does Neza actually know that his father is willing to sacrifice everything for power, including him? Because if he does and he still chose his father's side, then he's a fucking idiot. If he doesn't know and he chose his father's side, then I sincerely hope that book 3 he realized very quickly, but I doubt it, which means that ultimately the final battle is going to be between fire and water and the people and the aristocrats. I like how cleanly, how evenly it is that RF Kwong has divided the lines, because you know this final battle is going to be bloody. And I am ready. I am so fucking ready for it. Resting RIP to everybody you love though, because this book was filled with so many deaths. Everybody died. Not just nameless people, but people we were starting to care for and people we like everybody died. This book, like I said, was literally me holding my breath, but at the same time, it was my heart in my throat. Because every single time that things were resolved, that like these things were resolved too quickly. There are more pages. Even when we got to the end, and I'm like, oh my god, that final defeat. And then I look at it, I'm like, wait, no. This cannot be the end. There's something worse coming, isn't there? Because there's still more pages left to go. And I was right. There are worse things coming. And this book just kept coming and hitting me. And I loved every single moment of it. Another thing I really did enjoy, the themes. Like, oh my god, I love the themes of perception that ran through this book. The whole point of it's not really about who you are, but how you're perceived. And we saw these instances with Rin and you know with the experience, and even with Vazra and the way they were treating the Southerners. You could see it's all a perception game, and that's the reason why I think that the final battle will be even bloodier, because of what I already mentioned earlier, the old lines drawn in the sand. I love the themes about, you know, the marriage of racism and religion, as seen in the experience case, and this whole belief that, you know, their divine supreme being gives them supremacy over other people. And I found it interesting because it also kind of correlated with, you know, what it was that the people of Mugen, the Republic of Mugen, also believed, except for the fact that Mugen believed their emperor was God, and the experience believed in a great architect. And basically it was all about how willing people are to destroy others whose religious beliefs are so different from them. And it just hit so hard because, like, we know this is a fantasy novel based off of historical events, and like colonialism has always come hand in hand with religion. I should know. I live in a fucking country. That was exactly what fucking happened. And whiteness trying to use religion and the way they look to be able to, you know, determine or define their supremacy. It's been a constant. And it just rang also true with something that Sudaji was saying, because she was like, where do you think the Muganese learned this? And I'm like, that makes so much fucking sense. Which is another reason I'm like, do I believe her though? Because I repeat, she makes so much fucking sense. Like, fuck. Like I said, I also enjoyed the themes about war, exactly who suffers, you know, who suffers during war. I also love the themes about pain. Basically all the themes that, you know, were consistent throughout the Poppy War were further brought into this. Like, see, the Poppy War, this book was heavier for me to read. My heart was breaking on a constant basis because this book was war. Like, the Poppy War is titled The Poppy War, but more than half of it was all about, you know, Rin getting into Singard, and then her training for her first year, and then her apprenticing under Jiang. Speaking of Jiang, I actually expected him to show up in this, but he didn't, which means that, like I said, book 3 is going to be bloody because he's probably going to show up. It's important. And I still think that the consistent thread about that army of shamans that, you know, Neza still repeated, and Alton wanted, I still think it's going to happen. It's just that it's probably not going to happen the way Alton wants to, because finally, I kid you not, like, I loved it when it was that Rin finally decided that she's not going to live her life for what Alton wants and his desires and trying to live up to his legacy, because she's going to be her own person and she's going to be a better person for it. Just fills me so much hope, because I'm like, she'll probably come up with a better plan and idea than Alton did, because Alton was cute and all, but that guy, his plan made no sense. Like, let's be real about it. But yes, As expected, I gave this book 5 bloody gorgeous stunning stars. If I could give you more stars, I would. um I keep losing my mind at the fact that this is the work of a debut author. Like, The Poppy War was Rebecca's debut novel, and it was so bloody good. And then she gave us with this second book that was even more amazing than the first book, and confirmed that there is no middle book syndrome in this entire series, and now has me eager and anticipating for book 3. Even though I know there is no title, no synopsis, no cover, but I am but a willing slave. She's like the vermilion phoenix, and I'm caught in her grasp, and I'm a willing conduit of desire. Or rather, maybe she's Sudaji and she has me entrapped. I don't care, but she has the power of a god, and I want to read the 3rd book in this series, and I can't wait. I can't wait. Like, I hope sincerely that this review sort of made sense in a way, because I want to go back to bed, and then I want to hold this book and fall asleep with it, because fuck. But yeah, those are my thoughts about the brilliance that is the Dragon Republic. If you read the Poppy one, you're worried that, oh my god, what if the Dragon Republic does not live up to my expectation? What if the Dragon Republic is not better? Trust me, the Dragon Republic is immensely better, so much better. My most anticipated book of the year, and it's more than delivered. Like, definitely easily making it to my favorite books of this year, and I'm in awe at the perfection and amazingness of this book, and I want to read the 3rd book. And if you've not read The Poppy War, and you can stand, like what I said, the fact that, it's kind of like, with this, a lot of trigger warnings, extreme violence, self-mutilation, sexual abuse, lots of abuse. It's war, and very descriptive imagery, vivid imagery of people dying in horrible, horrifying ways. Then but you want to read about a girl who is morally grey, a girl who has to make very tough decisions, but you would understand, because life is not in black and white, and we have to make do with our decisions, and sometimes the decisions we have to take are hard. But the question is, what would you do? What would you be willing to do? Which god will you be willing to summon or kill to protect your people? And Rin is your girl, is the girl you want in that corner, because she would bleed for her people. And in this book, trust me, she does.